Texas's Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, was recently being interviewed on Fox, and he's very much concerned about what this pandemic is doing to the economy. And he made a fascinating suggestion. Let's take a look.
No one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me noble or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me, I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. And I want to, live smart and see through this, but I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. And that's what I see. I've talked to hundreds of people, Tucker, and just in the last week, and making calls all the time. And everyone says pretty much the same thing, that we can't lose our whole country. We're having an economic collapse. I'm also a small businessman. I understand it. And I talk with business people all the time, Tucker. And my heart is lifted tonight by what I heard the president say, because we can do more than one thing at a time. We can do 2 things. So, my message is that let's get back to work. Let's get back to living. Let's be smart about it. And those of us who are 70 plus, we'll take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country. Don't do that. Don't ruin this great American dream.
You're basically saying that this disease could take your life, but that's not the scariest thing to you. There's something that would be worse than dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, trash. That's what that was. That was trash. It was garbage. Okay. And I love how he tried to like flatter himself in the middle of that. Like, I'm not brave or courageous or any. No, you're not. You're trash. He should know that. Okay. By the way, he talks about his grandchildren. Okay. Go out there then. Because the real heroes right now are the people who are putting their lives on the line to treat patients with coronavirus, the people who are working at the grocery stores, so those stores are made open and we can have access to food. So if he wants to be brave and if he wants to practice what he preaches, why doesn't he go bag some groceries right now? Right now. You think Dan Patrick is going to do that? Trash.
So let's finish the sentence, because he said, Tucker Carlson asked him, so you think some things are more important than even your life? And he said, yeah, his stock portfolio. I mean, there it is. Republican 101. Look, guys, no one is minimizing the damage to the economy. It's hurting young Turks. It's hurting all of us personally. It's hurting people who might lose their jobs. No one is minimizing that. But if the trade-off is we let a huge percentage of people above the age of 70 die so the stock market doesn't go down and all those other economic ailments don't happen, I don't think that's a hard question. And apparently they don't think it's a hard question either. We just have different answers. But also understand the false courage that Anna was talking about there. Dan Patrick actually thinks he's going to be okay. He's wealthy. He's a statewide politician. He's among the elites. You think he's not going to get a ventilator? Trust me, he's going to get a ventilator if he gets sick, right? You run out of ventilators for poor people. Well, some people had to be sacrificed. He kept talking about the word sacrifice. Imagine if Democrats had said, well, look, we got to sacrifice some older Americans to pay for other parts of the government. They would be like, oh my God. And in fact, when they didn't even do that, the Republicans invented this thing called death panels that didn't actually exist, except here's the Lieutenant Governor of Texas calling for death panels, saying, well, I know, but we got to get the stock market back up.
Trash. And, he's not the only one. Fox and Friends, they've had similar discussions. In fact, recently Stuart Varney was on Fox, and he was making similar arguments.
What the president is saying is at odds with what the medical community is saying. The president is saying, let's get back to work, But the medical community seems to be saying, no, you got to clamp down to make sure we beat the virus first. So there's two sides to this equation. The investors, they're taking the president's side. They want the economy to start getting back up to speed again, albeit slowly, but that's what they want. And that's why the market does so well first thing this morning.
Yeah, and in New York, they lost 100. We lost 126 people. They passed away last night. It was the biggest increase since this whole thing started. There's no question that New York has more cases than anybody else, and there's no question that New York is getting the biggest response as they convert the Javits Center. In fact, overall with the economy, they're going to lose we're going to lose this month between 5 and 7 million jobs. 5 to 7 million people will be laid off.
It's important, and I haven't heard anyone, even in left media, make this point. The economy's been pretty crappy for a lot of people for a very long time. Like, what it took was for the stock market to suffer, for all of these TV pundits, not just on Fox News, all over the place, all of these mainstream cable outlets, right, to start panicking about the economy. Now, don't get me wrong, as Cenk has said a million times, yes, this pandemic has had a huge negative impact on our economy. People have been laid off. My husband's been laid off. So I get that. But they don't care about Christian getting laid off. They don't care about all those workers in the gig economy who had to work several different jobs just to make enough money to pay their rent. They've been bragging about how wonderful the economy is while workers' wages have remained stagnant for decades, while people who were hurt the hardest, right, from the 2008 economic collapse never recovered. You heard all these same people talking about how wonderful the economy was. They did not care about any situation any average American was in. They didn't care about how bad the economy was for the vast majority of average Americans. They didn't care until their stock portfolios took a hit. Now, all of a sudden, oh my God, the economy is terrible. But if you look at so many other measures of the economy prior to what happened with coronavirus, you'll know that it wasn't doing so well for most people anyway.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. 5 to 7 million people losing their jobs. That's why Stuart Varney's all upset. That's why Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's all verklempt. No, it's their beloved, cherished stock market. And even the unemployed, they're like, whoa, that makes me worry about the economy, which will make the stocks dip. Everything is about their money.
Yeah.
Everything's about their money. And look, so let's talk about those 5 to 7 million people. So for us, our hearts break for them. But what is the alternative? Is it to send them back to work where it is dangerous? No, the alternative should be to cover, for example, if they actually cared. Hey, Stuart, I got a great idea. Dan Patrick, I got a great idea. Why don't we pay their full salaries as unemployment insurance only while the pandemic is raging? And then we'll put a cap on it, and then we'll get back to normal afterwards. That way you can show that you really care about those people, instead of saying, the way I'm going to show my care is, no, I'm not going to give them money. And of course not. Don't be ridiculous, right? I'm not going to help them make a living or provide for their family. No, I'm going to send them back to work where they can get sick and then spread the disease. You see how caring I am? Get out of here. You don't care about them at all, not 1%. And again, guys, it doesn't help the economy if everybody goes back to work and they all get sick, and then we all have to go back inside the house for another couple of weeks or a couple of months. So this is no answer at all. And what they don't realize is it'll drag down the stock market, their beloved, cherished stock market, for even longer than this current situation.